Soon the world would see invisible troops of NATO fighting Russia on the eastern flank of Europe. Yes, you heard that right. Invisible troops it is. Recently, NATO's general announced that NATO will boost the number of troops by more than 7-fold to over 3 lakhs on high readiness in response to Russia's warmongering. However, this seems more of a concept than a reality. Wondering how? Stick till the video's end as we dig into this matter. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of TFI Media Group. I'm your host Kanika, and if you haven't subscribed to TFI Global channel yet, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates. The NATO members under the US leadership don't appear to have any plans to end the current war between Russia and Ukraine. NATO seems to be more interested in antagonizing Russia than finding a peaceful way to resolve the problem. At a recent NATO conference held in Madrid, it was announced that in response to Russia's aggression, the military alliance will shortly put 3 lakh troops on high alert. But we claim that it is nothing but a bogus agenda of NATO. Wondering why? Let us substantiate our claim by putting forward some key points. As mentioned earlier, generals said that NATO would deploy 3 lakh troops on the eastern flank of Europe. Many of the hundreds of officials attending the conference were shocked by the staggering number of troops. They were baffled as to what exactly the Secretary General meant. They questioned how the figure was determined and what kind of troops would be deployed. They were also curious to know what exactly the Secretary General had in mind about the additional expenses. Maybe it is number magic, said one of the senior European defense officials who, like others, spoke on the condition of anonymity to talk frankly about the confusion. Moreover, these officials assert that they were totally unaware of any plans to increase NATO's quick response force from its existing number of 40,000 members. Numerous officials speaking on behalf of their respective countries also claimed that their leaders had not been consulted prior to the formulation of any such plans. This clearly shows that Stoltenberg's idea of deploying 3 lakh troops has come out of thin air. Another factor that debunks this idea that the countries of Eastern Europe would be reluctant to house these troops for the two main reasons. One, by allowing these to be stationed on their territories, these nations would compromise their security and further enrage Russia. And two, it is obvious that these nations would like to concentrate more on their economic interest, which actually makes sense in the long run. These nations are already struggling to overcome the considerable economic consequences of the Russia-Ukraine war. Therefore, instead of concentrating on battling Russia, their top goal would be to reform their economy. Nevertheless, it is not that NATO has announced 3 lakh troop figure for the first time. Even during the Crimea's 2014 annexation event, such a plan was announced by the NATO. However, when Donald Trump took office 3 years later in 2017, it was actually pushed into reality. Even then, despite an increase in troops, the number was never materialized in actuality. All we can conclude is that these claims were fabricated solely to exert pressure on Russia, because it is simply impossible to deploy 3 lakh troops and no country will genuinely agree to do so. The concept to be in practice might even take a decade. Therefore, the idea of sending out such a massive number of troops is just symbolic.